All right, Dr. Chapman Rackaway, the chair of the Political Science Department at Radford University, is here with me now. So, Dr. Rackaway, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, so we got some stuff to talk about today. We're talking about the Supreme Court ruling, right? So the Supreme Court ruled that for those knocked off the rolls, they can't vote, but they might be able to get back on. So first of all, what is your take on this ruling? Why is that so critical here?
Well, a big challenge here is that this is an example of what happens when federal laws and state laws decide to have a headbutt. Because you have the National Voter Registration Act, which says there needs to be a 90-day buffer between any type of this kind of purge and the election. And obviously, we're well within that window. But we have a 2006 Virginia law that says that the rolls need to be purged so that we can make sure that non-citizens aren't voting.
Right.
A lot of the controversy here is in how it's done, because it's actually fairly easy to be filling out your form either online at the DMV or in a paper form and forget to click that little box that says I am a citizen. So even someone who has their full name, their social security number, everything correct in there, if that little box isn't checked, that instantly suggests they're not a citizen. And when you have that emerge, that's the kind of voter registration that gets purged from these rolls now.
So somebody might be a citizen, they forgot to check the box, and all of a sudden they can't vote.
That's
right?
exactly right.
But what about, I mean, so the Attorney General, Jason Miyares, said, well, this is a common sense conclusion by the Supreme Court. He's representing, you know, the Republican side. But I mean, it seems like common sense that if you're not a citizen, you can't vote.
That's right.
Right?
And, and the problem isn't necessarily in purging non-citizens, because we, as you said, we don't want non-citizens voting. But it's kind of a baby in the bathwater situation. Is there's relatively few non-citizens who register and try to vote. The numbers, less than a dozen usually. But 1,606 voters have been purged. So the idea is that there may be a lot more legitimate citizens who are being denied or potentially denied the right to vote in this process. And that was why the lawsuits happened and why the competing decisions from the different levels of court came through.
Yeah, so in the grand scheme of things, 1,600 voters doesn't sound like much. So this is an ideological discussion more than anything, right?
Absolutely, because even those people who were purged from the rolls, Virginia now has same-day registration.
So you can go show up, prove you're a citizen, and still vote on the same day.
That's exactly right. You want to make sure that you bring some sort of proof of citizenship, a passport, social security card, driver's license, but you can go through same-day registration, still have your voice heard, regardless through this process. It just puts a little bit more of a barrier in front of some folks than we normally like to see. And so it's really important for people to go to the Virginia voter portal and check their voter registration status, especially if they've registered in the last 6 months, to make sure that there aren't any errors and that they aren't part of this purge.
Okay, Dr. Chapman Rackaway, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.